you do not win the Democratic nomination, come on, what are the chances of that? Will you run as a third-party candidate?
Look, I want to be a Democratic candidate. I want to have a chance on the Democratic stage to rally people to what I think is an issue at the core of the Democratic Party, restoring democracy to the people. And that's what I want to do. I want the chance to do that. Now, it's been hard because, you know, I'm a teacher. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a politician. If I were a politician, I could be paid while I was running for the United States presidency. But as a teacher, once I start running, I got to give up my job. So there's a period of time where I can run on credit cards and savings accounts when they can't pay me from the campaign or anything, where I try to get into the race. And what I did in my case was raise $1 million in less than 30 days. That's more than 5 Republican candidates. It's more than Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee, and it's just about exactly what O'Malley raised. I rallied 10,000 people to the campaign. We have a real campaign staff. I qualified for public funding, but the Democratic Party wouldn't even acknowledge me as a candidate. And so the polls wouldn't include me on their polls. And so when they said 1% you have to be at to be in this race.
I would be careful about this. Is kind of what Jim Webb was doing the other night. Like,
I saw that.
It comes off as whiny, and then people don't like it.
During the debate, I tweeted.
They won't let me talk. They won't let me on the
During the debate, I tweeted that you should be included. So I was trying to help you out.
But the question is, Bill. Now here's the question.
Do we know that was really? But you're on the other side, there, John.
I'm all fair,
yes,
right?
I don't.
Fair play. That's what we need.
What do you have to do to be able to?
We allow everybody in the Republican debate.
I think we've been around this mulberry bush, but the issue, I think, is being raised by the other candidates.
But if the issue is, how do we get a democracy first? Like, how do we make that the priority? What Bernie said in that debate, the one line that I think was the most important line, not mentioned by anybody, he said, if we're going to have any chance of addressing these problems, we've got to deal with campaign finance, which is exactly my.
But this is my.
80% of Republicans agree with you, according to the Bloomberg polling this week, which is fascinating.
One of my big problems with liberals in this era is their ability to nitpick fights on the very, 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 very far end of the spectrum.
So the real problem with liberals over the last decades has been that they haven't taken their own side in the fight. And I think one of the things that's appealing to Bernie Sanders, put aside socialism, is he's a fighter. And he's fighting on behalf of people.
So let's fight the people that he's fighting instead of fighting him.
Bill, the good thing about
you could not turn on a TV set without Donald Trump.
Listen, the reason he got in the news so much is because he's newsworthy, and he says stuff that.
He's newsworthy for exactly 10 minutes.
In the world we live in.
It doesn't take 8 weeks to lime the depths of Donald Trump's brain. Like, we could figure that out in about a week.
He's always.
But if you look at it, we had this huge amount of coverage
clickbait, but he's good clickbait.
Then we had a huge amount of coverage about this ridiculous email scandal.
I know.
And then less coverage of Bernie Sanders than the email scandal.
To me, the interesting question. Hey, you guys run the media.